Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, boys, shoot, Tom Brady and them Buccaneers. Now, get Brady. Tom Brady's supposed to be the GOAT. Talking NFL for short. You know what I'm saying? And he's going against Aaron Rodgers, who I think is an awesome quarterback. But boy, the Buccaneers handled their business. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's surprising for me. But let's talk the biggest fight of the weekend, biggest fight of the year so far. I think it is too. Because it was significant. We had a fight with the top 3 pound for pound fighter in Lomachenko versus up and comer in Teofimo Lopez. A very, very strong personality, strong character in Teofimo Lopez, believing in himself, him and his father and their crew. So they brought that fight home. They won a unanimous decision and should have won a unanimous decision. Lomachenko he's not a loser. Everybody will tell you how many fights he had, close to 300, 400 fights in the amateurs and only losing one, which is awesome. From his 14 fights as a professional, he only lost one. He figures out a way to win. I mean, with that kind of record, no matter what, then you have to be considered a winner at that point. So most winners are not don't do well with losses. Obviously, they don't get any practice. So I'm not tripping on Lomachenko feeling he won the fight. I just think he should have said I was in the fight. I don't think he won that fight, right? Especially with round 12, even going for Lopez. He did not win that fight. It probably could have been a little bit closer. I didn't have it that close because some of the rounds, even when he was coming on, it just looked better in comparison to what he was doing for the first 6 or 7 rounds, right? He threw a couple of combinations. Doesn't mean he won the fight. Now, what I'm going to continue to say to everyone is the fighters that have the crowd going for them most of the time, not just Lomachenko, but Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua, who have never had experienced boos and people ignoring their shots that they're landing or not landing, or the shots that they're avoiding. Well, if the crowd was there and they were going for Lomachenko, then those rounds when he was coming back, it would have been all hell would have broke loose, and it would have seemed as though he was really, coming back and taking over the fight. And that's not what really happened. He definitely lost the fight, but it's good that he feels though that he won the fight because he will stay in the mix. Let's see what he's going to do. A lot of people, a lot of articles are saying he should go down to 130 or something like that, maybe back down to 126. Let's see what he's going to do. I don't think everybody at 135 beats him, but I do think he has problems with a few of those guys. And when you lose, people think they have the blueprint. Let's see what happens. But you know, more importantly is when it comes to Teofimo Lopez and this undisputed, which it isn't. There's a guy out there, Devin Haney, who's supposed to be fighting. Let's make sure we let that fight happen. Let's make sure we don't stand in the way of the Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. Keep the racism and the nationalism and all that other isms out of the door. What you have here is you have a major fight with two very young fighters, 123, 121. Their last 8 opponents, both of them, have been very, very good. 2 losses or less. The last 8 opponents, one of them is 16-0, one of them is 24-0. It's just awesome. It's an East versus West showdown, West Coast, East Coast showdown, and it has everything there. This my thing is this: let the rivalry begin. Right? Let's not treat Devin Haney like, oh, he's not going to get the opportunity. And then I have to put him into what he already is and what I call the Negro Leagues of fighters. Him, Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Demetrius Andrade, guys that should have got fights already, but we will ignore that they can get it and give it to someone else. I'm even hearing, hey, maybe Ryan Garcia should get a shot at Teofimo Lopez. He's not farther along than Devin Haney, right? And here's the thing: what Devin Haney has to offer. Beat me, and you are really undisputed. I don't even know why I put these up. Don't even have those. Really undisputed. I am the key to undisputed. But let's not get it twisted. Undisputed scares people. People act weird and undisputed. And they ain't gonna let no brother become undisputed. Look at Demetrius Andrade and Canelo Alvarez last year. Canelo was looking for an opponent in September, and no one uh, mentions Demetrius Andrade, who was the key to undisputed. It happens all the time. We couldn't get Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua for undisputed. It happens all the time. The only fight out there right now is Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. And it has all of the shades of Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. And Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield is the exact same thing. They had two fights, didn't they? Right? They had two fights, and I'm gonna tell you why Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, right? Because Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield happened because Mike Tyson wasn't gonna fight Lennox Lewis, and and if you don't believe me, put it in. Holyfield explains, Mike Tyson fight with Mike Tyson, or Lennox Lewis was the harder fight. Evander Holyfield talks about it all the time. Mike Tyson, they paid, I think Lennox Lewis around $4 million at the time. You step aside, I'm gonna fight Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield is the easier touch, and you messed around and got with the easier touch, and you couldn't deal with it, right? Evander Holyfield stood at him, and the first fight with Holyfield and Tyson, I mean, think about it. Mike Tyson hit him after 2 seconds with a right hand that he would have fell down from. Ask Bruce Seldon and Michael Spinks, they fell down, got hit with something that was a little bit less than that. Holyfield went to the ropes and he said, "What? I'm in a fight. It's time to get down." And he fought Holyfield real well. He fought Tyson real well and beat him. The next fight, Tyson bit his ear because he was losing the first early round. And Mike Tyson doesn't lose round ones. So Holyfield turned out to be a little bit harder than he was expecting because he didn't expect him to be as hard as Lennox Lewis. Well, that's the same thing here. That's the same thing here. Um, your boy Lomachenko, that would be Mike Tyson. He was like, "I ain't fighting Devin Haney." That would be Lennox Lewis. I'm gonna fight Teofimo Lopez for unification. And matter of fact, I asked to get this other belt, and so they'll sneak it in and say that it's even undisputed, which it's not. So I'm gonna fight Teofimo Lopez. I'd rather fight him than Devin Haney. And Lopez fight could be too much for him. Matter of fact, don't we think that Lomachenko gonna fight Lopez again? Lomachenko gonna have a problem again? Don't you think that? Same thing with Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. Fight him again, there's gonna be a problem again. And you don't want to fight Lennox Lewis. Mike Tyson still wasn't fighting Lennox Lewis. We still don't think Lomachenko right now, after losing to your boy Lopez, that he gonna go and beat Devin Haney. Do you think Lomachenko go fight Devin Haney now? Nobody won't even suggest that. Right? Same thing with Mike Tyson. They wouldn't suggest fighting Lennox Lewis after losing to Evander Holyfield. Right? And then Lopez or Holyfield, he went on to have two epic fights with Lennox Lewis. And that's what I think can happen with these young cats. I think Lopez and Devin Haney would be epic. And I think it would definitely have a couple of fights, at least, minimum. Probably a trilogy is there. Let's leave everything out the front door. All the politics, leave them out the front door. It is the only fight to be talking about. We don't need to be talking about no Ryan Garcia. You don't deserve it yet. You're not the key to undisputed. And who cares what happens on social media? Y'all know I don't. Has nothing to do with it. Ryan Garcia is awesome. He's coming, but he can fight a couple of guys. He's not the key to undisputed. Still would be a decent fight, and it would probably be kind of big, right? But it's not bigger than Devin Haney, right? Neither is Gervonta Davis. It's good, Gervonta Davis. We know he's awesome and all of that good stuff, but he's not the key to undisputed. Stay focused, people. Stay focused. The fight is only Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. And that's even before the rematch with Lomachenko. None of the fights bring in what your boy Devin Haney does. I'm the key to undisputed lightweight division. After that, if that happens, then all of the fights are major. After that, you have one champion and you have a whole bunch of great fighters waiting, in line. And all of them are good. Then the Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, and whoever else is. Right? Lomachenko gonna want some more if he's gonna stay at 135. All pretty big fights. But wouldn't it be awesome if every fight was for undisputed at that particular point, and we can get all that franchise out of the way and all that other stuff that shouldn't exist? That's the key. So yes, shades of Holyfield versus Tyson. If we can get Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez, right? And again, congratulations Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is number 3 pound for pound. If you let WBN tell it. Now, number 3 pound for pound. When I see that, I looked at that pound list yesterday and I cringe. I do. It has nothing to do with my pound for pound. But still, Canelo's still number 1. Tyson Fury is number 2, and now Teofimo Lopez is number 3. Yeah, I don't agree with that, but y'all know Canelo wouldn't be on number one when we all know he's arguing right now with the zone because they want him to fight decent fights and he won't. How can we have the best fighter, the very best fighter in the world, arguing about fighting easy fights, right? The best fighter in the world, they're all easy, right? You're supposed to be able to tell the best fighter in the world, fight him. And he's like, I haven't done it yet. What time is it? Bring him on. That's not what's happening. And I don't think that's worthy of our number one pound for pound. Tyson Fury, right? Possibly be. But the thing I have with Tyson Fury is you're 50 pounds heavier than the guy you beat. Deontay Wilder wasn't in the pound for pound list like Lomachenko, right? So we were saying Deontay Wilder is trash and he's not that good, right? So if we do that, you can't beat the guy that's trash and not that good and then shoot up in the pound for pound list even though you're 50 pounds heavier. It doesn't make common sense, gentlemen. The thing is, if Deontay Wilder was top 5 pound for pound, which he should have been, because let me tell you, he, in all of boxing, has beats people an average of 25 pounds heavier than him throughout his career. That is what pound for pound is actually all about, to be honest with you, right? That he should at least crack, because he wasn't just beating them and outpointing them and running from them, right? We're talking about him knocking those guys out. Professional boxers that went on to do other stuff, the ones that everybody called trash and what's the names of them, bums and stuff like that. You know they're not. So he should have cracked the pound for pound list. I'm the heavyweight world champion. I'm weighing less than everybody, and I'm knocking them out. If he was top 5 pound for pound, then Tyson Fury beating him would have said, okay, now you go to number two, but not leave the brother out of the top 10, and then somebody beats him, the trash guy, and then they're way up. Issues with that. And you should have issues with that too. But whatever. My point about everything is if Lopez is number three pound for pound, we might start having problems with them giving this brother, Devin Haney, an opportunity to be great, to crack the top 10 pound for pound or the top 5 pound for pound. He's also a phenom. 21 years old, Lopez 23 years old. Let's let this rivalry begin with nothing in the way. Let's see if we can get that done. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.